People are already starting to do that. It's streaming live on the socials. So if you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I will see those comments. I can pull those comments right into the stream. Despite the fact you're not in the Zoom with us, I would be more than happy to answer your questions as well. And we're going to start with, and I know, there's some of you guys that I saw on earlier. So Greg, Tom, you guys have probably seen this rant a little bit before. I'll try to mix it up a little bit for you. But I start out with what I call the art selling pyramid. Okay. And I jacked this thing from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whether you're familiar with this or not, there's a pyramid. It goes hierarchical. You got to sort the blocks at the bottom before you can sort the blocks at the top, right? So first, you have to deal with your physiological needs. You need to eat, you need to sleep. After you have those taken care of, then you can work on safety, and you can work on building wealth and getting in shape, then love, belonging, becoming an incredible human, on and on and on. So I give you the art selling pyramid. And I really do believe that this is the path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. And, I refer to all of the data points that I have, knowing that this is the path, seeing the great deal of success that people get understanding this particular pyramid. So it's critically, critically important. And the bottom block is attention. And no different than Maslow's. You have to sort the physiological block first, and that is a daily need. We all need to eat. We all need to sleep every single solitary day. We all need to be working on attention and getting more of it every single solitary day. Attention comes in two forms: rented and owned. Owned attention can't be taken away from us. We control the rules. It comes in the form of phone numbers, snail mail addresses, email addresses. The rented attention comes in the form of followers on our social media sites or anywhere else that we're potentially getting attention. But you need to be working on it. You need to be working on it on a daily basis. The needs to cultivate more and more of it never, ever stop. It does not stop. It is the currency of the land that we live in. The best art is not the art that gets sold. The best photography is not the photography that gets sold. It's a tree falls in the forest. Does anyone ever hear it scenario? You either have the attention or you don't. With it, you can do anything. Without it, no one will even see your work. So it's all an academic question. The questions that everyone has: what is my niche? What should my pricing be? I don't know which one of my best sellers are going to be. All irrelevant questions. None of that even matters. You'll never know unless you solve the attention problem. It is the biggest problem, period, full stop. It doesn't matter if you are sold nothing. It doesn't matter if you're selling $100,000 a year. It doesn't matter if you're selling $1 million a year. If you want to continue to grow that pot, you have an attention problem. You need to focus on it. It is fundamental. And you know what I always say on these calls? Do you know who solved the attention problem? Do you know who are some of the most powerful women in the United States, let alone in the entire world? You can question how they got there morally and ethically, but you cannot question their results. The Kardashians. The Kardashians, okay? Those girls understand that the currency of the land is attention. They've captured it, and as a result, they can do whatever they want, including never fly commercial again. They all have mega $1 million businesses, and if any of the one of them, okay, despite their scantily clad, physically altered states, decided to become artists tomorrow and start painting stick figures on a canvas, they will sell $100,000 worth in the first day. They'll probably have a $10 million business year one. Why? Because they have attention. They have attention. That's it. So fundamentally, more than anything else, what do we do as a business art storefronts? We teach you how to get attention. And guess what? It is a daily task, and it never stops, and it never will stop. Once you sort the attention piece, we can get block two. Block two has an outer shell to it, and then the inner. The outer shell is twofold. One, it's the business model. Okay, the business model that I believe every artist and photographer needs to be cultivating, needs to be working on, which is selling their work, your work, direct to the end consumer, such that you maintain the contact information on the end consumer, such that you can market to the end consumer in perpetuity. Critically important. Critically important. And I know because on every one of these calls, there's going to be a whole bunch of you that are going to be in your 40s, 50s, and 60s that have been selling art your entire life, but you never understood the business model. You let someone else control the customer data. You did not build a database of your customers. You have no ability to market to your customers, and you've not marketed to them even if you have them. And what do you have as a result of that? What do you have? You've got no way of selling your art or photography. You are reliant on revenue sources, i.e. the galleries, i.e. the show and theater circuit, and it can be taken away from you at any point in time. And during COVID, it was, and it can be taken away from you again. So not understanding the business model, insanely detrimental. The next concept I stole from Weiland. Weiland's a best-selling artist in the United States. Some would say the world. He's the whale guy. This is his book. I'm going to put a link to it. It's short. It's very sweet. It's not on Amazon, sadly, because I think he donates the proceeds to charity. But let me see if you can see my camera. Do you see how thin this is? Like this is a very, very easy read, and it's awesome. And it's from a guy that has the bona fides because he's the biggest selling artist in the United States. In there, he talks about the power of a collector list. Weiland defines a collector as anyone that will purchase in upwards of 8 pieces over the course of their life from him. And understand, it is one of the most fundamental aspects if you want to have a profitable art or photography business over the next 5 to 6 decades, however long you're going to end up being at it. It is the make it or break it moment, okay? Because what ends up happening, you cultivate collectors, they go along for the ride with you. Year after year, your prices keep going up. They keep buying more and more. You come out with a new series, a new bit of work, and you tell the collectors before anyone else. And you know, we've got a customer that's nailed this, and I'll show something about this a little bit later. But this is how it works in the real world. This is an artist that's on our platform. Her name is Meg Knappenberger. She's from Kansas City. She just recently had a live art show. I'm going to go ahead and mute that. And this live art show went down on a Wednesday. The public was notified about it on a Monday that they could see the show on a Wednesday. Her collectors were sent the list before anyone else of all the pieces that were going to be on the show, and the collectors bought 46% of the show before she even ran it. That is the power of a collector list. That is why we need to be cultivating a collector list. So that means in Meg's case, she had to sell, 56% of the show to the actual public. The rest of it was sold before the thing even began. That is the power of a collector list. If you are not cultivating one, you are going into a fight with an arm tied behind your back. Straight up, full stop. The minute you understand the power of a collector list, the minute you realize that it is essentially the 401k, the pension of your art business for the rest of time, you start taking the cultivation of this list quite a bit more seriously. It starts out with anyone who's ever purchased something from you. As time goes on, it's anyone that's ever purchased multiple times from you. And then those people you treat like VIPs. You treat like they are guests at the Four Seasons and you're the concierge. You bend over backwards for these folks, okay? You part the velvet ropes for these folks. You know them on a first name basis. You contact them on a regular basis. They're on the Christmas card list, okay? And they always will be. And you understand that. And then you understand the time horizon that you guys are all going to be artists and photographers for the rest of your lives. You have plenty of time to start taking this list seriously, to start cultivating it and building it. Once you sort, I got to go back to my little window here, those two things, and you understand those two things, you need to understand that there are 3 ways to sell art or photography. 3 ways. Way number 1, the best way, always has been, always will be, in person, face to face. If you have the opportunity to sell your art, to sell your photography in person, face to face, that is the best way to do it. Always has been, always will be. Problem, we are, all of us, geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep, and unless you're my wife, she's out there, she's going to hear this, you can't have 15 conversations at once. So what do? We have to have a website, okay? That's the second way to sell art. The website solves for all those problems. It solves for people that are not geographically in your hometown. It solves for when you are sleeping. It solves for 15-person people on your site getting informed, getting closer to a buying decision without you having to talk to them. So is it critically important to have a website? Yes. Do we offer the best-in-class website solution to sell art photography? It's not even close. But guess what? The website's the worst way out of the 3 to sell art or photography. The worst way. Best way, number 1, in-person, face-to-face. Next best way, exactly what we're doing right now. Leveraging the power of live video in either a one-to-one or one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one, I come to Mark's website. Mark, your work is really interesting. Can we set up a video call? I'd like you to show me a couple of pieces and talk about pricing. Mark goes, no problem, Patrick. He sends me a link to a Zoom. We're in a Zoom. I'm talking to him directly. I'm getting to know him. He's showing his work. He's merchandising it. He's talking about some of the inspiration behind it. I make a buying decision. Okay, significantly more effective, more efficient than attempting to just sell passively on your website. That's one to one. One to many is sort of what I was showing you earlier. It is the concept of the live art show, right? And I always use this example. He's a buddy of mine. Here he is in his basement, not his basement, it's his garage studio, and he's holding up some of his work and he is showing it off. There's some tradecraft and some technology and everything else that's going on in this, but there it is, live video, him selling his work directly. And in Matthew's case, he's done this. And don't worry, I'm going to send you these videos after the fact so you can check them out. In Matthew's case, he's done this multiple times, and he's done it in just about every abstraction. What I just showed you was a direct live art show, in his case, from his garage studio. Well, here he is in an art gallery. He had a show in an art gallery during COVID that he managed to pull off. And after the show is over, the next day, he's got a glass of wine. He is talking to his potential customers. He is walking them through the show like they were in the gallery in real time. He's showing the pieces. Yes, this one sold, but I'm still going to talk about it. He's taking questions from people. You know, you can see Faye there just left a comment like, "Oh, magnificent," or whatever she said. I can't, now it's gone. Anyway, this is the absolute future. And it doesn't matter where you see it, whether you see his iteration in a gallery, you see his version in a studio, you see Meg's version in the basement of her house where she's selling some pieces, or if you go to the biggest of the biggest. And your industry is not one that has a lot of reports. There are two big ones that come out on a yearly basis. One is by Art Basel and UBS. The other one is called the Hiscox Report. This one is the one I want you to focus on for today. I'm going to send you a link to it. It is very, very impressive. You can download the report. It has a PDF, or they have this key findings section. Now, if I go back here, you can see, you know, online sales, global wealth and art buyers, economic impact and conclusions, auction sales, art fairs and exhibitions. The disclaimer on these guys is they only really survey the top of the top, the 1% of the art and photography world, you know, the best galleries. They're selling at Sotheby's, they're selling at Christie's, they're in the biggest art galleries in Paris and New York and Los Angeles, fine. It still trickles down. If we look at the automatic or the online sales portion of this report, and I quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and at the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. What is an OVR? It is a fancy term for a Zoom call, okay? And if you're in Christie's or you're in Sotheby's or you're one of the biggest galleries in the world, you are getting, okay, your highest net worth clients who don't want to travel because of COVID to talk to the artist directly, show the work, and get the sale over the line. So it doesn't matter whether you are at the very top of the top, okay, or you're at the very bottom of the bottom and you haven't sold a single solitary thing. You need to understand the three ways of selling art, okay? And you need to be leveraging them in your practice, and you need to be getting better at all three. Excuse me. So those are the three ways to sell art. And I honestly believe every single solitary person on this call needs to understand them. Every single solitary person needs to deploy one of the three whenever they have the ability, as horses for courses, right? As you do. And, you know, it is significantly important. And so the last block, the third block, after we're sorting our attention, daily basis, quotidian activity, after we understand the three ways to sell art, after we understand the business model and are cultivating our own collector list, then we can get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. Everything else. You have a retail gallery somewhere that's working, that's providing you revenue. Fantastic. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Okay, you want to keep that, but it's in addition to cultivating your own attention. It's in addition to you practicing the three ways to sell art. So too, if it's an online gallery, Etsy, Fine Art America, Redbubble, eBay, I don't care what. Fantastic if it's paying. If you are deriving revenue, wonderful, but it's in addition to daily working on attention. It's in addition to the three ways of selling art. It's in addition to building the collector list or anything else. If it's the local fair and show circuit, right? Love the local fair and show circuit. Amazing. Incredible opportunity to build attention, incredible opportunity to capture leads. But guess what? It's in addition to everything else you're doing. If you understand this pyramid, if you bolt this pyramid into your business, and then you have in your mind the perspective of how long you have, okay, left on this planet to build this art business, it all becomes so clear. It all becomes so clear. And I say this all the time, okay? Routinely on a week in, week out basis for the last year and a half, I've had people in their 50s, in their 60s, in their 70s, in their 80s, and probably a couple times a month, I get people in their 90s. They come onto these calls and they're asking me for advice in their art business. And guess what? It teaches you about the perspective. Do you have any idea of how long you have, Tom? I apologize. How long you have, okay, on this planet left to build this business? You've got time. You've got time, okay? And, if you understand that and you understand the pyramid, you're putting yourself on the path to building a successful art business. So, okay, where do we go from here? At this point, we open it up to Q&A. Now, a couple of different ways that you can answer. You can ask questions. If your camera's on and you want to do the old school hand raise, I will see that. We can get to those questions. But at the bottom of the Zoom bar is a participants button, okay? If you click the participants button, what that will allow you to do is it'll allow you to raise your hand digitally, and that sort of forms a queue, and that lets me know who has questions. If you want to be on video, fantastic. Love to have you on video. It'd be nice to see you. If you hate video, I hate video. Totally understand it. You can not be on video and just do audio. If you want to leave your question in the chat, you can certainly do that. And then as stated, if you're leaving comments on Facebook like Jane, do you recommend Loom so you can be showing your work on the web? Yeah, I mean, I recommend playing golf, Jane. What golf club you use is completely irrelevant. Use what works for you. But yes, I recommend the game of golf. And Loom is a good one, and it works, and it's easy. So yes, I do like Loom. So you can leave questions that way. In addition to myself, we also have on this call Joseph, who leads our outreach team. I'm going to go ahead and make you a co-host, Joseph. He has in-depth knowledge, one, of the sale that we're running, two, of our pricing, and all the inside bells and whistles. And so he's available for questions. So Joseph, go ahead.
Yeah, everybody, nice to meet you. It's Joseph. I've been here with Art Storefronts for 4.5 years or so, going on 5, and talked to a lot of different artists and photographers that might be in the same kind of stage as you with the business. So happy to give you any insights and answer any questions you have as well.
April, will you put in the chat just quickly the link on how to get your work photographed? Greg is asking questions about that. But Greg, as I told you before, what I would do is, if you want to do it yourself, you can certainly do it yourself. April's going to put the link in the chat, and I'm going to click on it, and then I'll be able to show you. There we go. So hold on. All right, so I'll get you out. Put me full. Get me out of here. So this is the article: How to Photograph. We sent it to you via email. It's in the chat now. How to photograph your artwork for reproduction. And he talks about lighting, talks about cameras, talks about the tripod, talks about other equipment, talks about how to capture the photo, everything to do. And this gentleman that wrote this article used to do this for Sotheby's for a long period of years. Very good. His know-how is up to point. And so this will show you everything, including advanced tips. This is, of course, if you want to do it yourself. If for some reason you don't want to do it yourself, it is very easy to hire out to get something like this done, which is normally what we recommend, just because it's easier. And somebody can come to your house and take care of all of it. But there it is, Greg. You can read that. You can sort of make the call about what you want to do from there. But that's what I would say. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I would just hire somebody on Craigslist straight up. I would get all my work into the garage. I would put the ad on Craigslist. I would say, put it in the gigs section. And I would say, literally looking for a photographer that has photographed art for reproduction. If that's you, respond to the ad, and you'll get a bunch of responses to the ad. And then you will say, hey, show me the work that you've done that's been reproduced. And do you know the name of the artist? And can I contact the artist? And they said, no problem, Patrick. Here are my references. Then I would go and contact those references. I would say, did this person do a good job? They did. What did you charge? Okay, fantastic. Then you go into negotiation, Greg. Done. You're in California. I know this is a very easy thing to do. Craigslist works very, very well here. I mean, I could have this post up, running, ready, rolling in the time that before even we get halfway done with this thing, this post is up. This is sort of the fun thing about being able to do show and tell on a Friday, by the way. Here's Craigslist. Create a posting. Gigs. Gigs is what I'm looking for. Gig authored. I want to hire someone. Creative gigs. Posting title. Photog needed. Fine art repo. Fine art repo. You think I'm kidding, Greg? I will write this entire thing right now just for show and tell purposes, right? Looking for a photographer, it's that simple. You could have that thing posted and up in no time flat. So that's what I would do, and then start negotiating and make a deal with somebody, right? They're going to end up doing fantastic. You don't necessarily need to get it scanned, but that article also is super helpful too. So that's what I would say. Yeah, I love Craigslist. I've had nothing but good experiences with Craigslist for the most part, like pretty much the whole entire time. So I think that's fantastic. But at that point, guys, open Q&A. Who's got questions? Love to hear where you are. What are you struggling with? What do you think your biggest problem is? Do you have questions about what we do, pricing, printing, software, how it all works, how to get started, just about anything that we can ask. And I did see that there was one earlier, I think. Did I miss it? That's mostly just Greg. You guys are a shy bunch today. Okay. Okay, Joseph and I can have a nice chat.
I love to chat.
Yep. All right, Pat, because you have the same name as me, I'm picking on you. Tell us about yourself, Pat. And you'll have to. Okay, good. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
All right. I am not an artist. I'm a collector.
Okay.
And I've been collecting for a long time, about 55 years. And our family has also been collecting. The collection started with family members who were artists, who are historically well known in Texas and have now departed.
Okay.
And so now we find ourselves with hundreds of pieces of art. And I'm 77 years old, and I don't want that legacy to die with me.
Okay.
I don't particularly need to sell a lot of art at once, but I'm trying to establish a legacy that someday it can be conveyed to people that would appreciate it and love it as much as we do.
That's super
Does
interesting.
that make sense?
Yeah.
For your business model?
Well, it's just it's an interesting situation. Period. So you don't have family members you want to gift it to after the fact. I mean, probably that many works too. Who has a house big enough to actually show them all, right? Like, you know.
That's correct. I've got a home here that consists of 3,700 square feet, and I've got a lot of art exhibited in it. It looks like an art gallery.
Yeah.
That doesn't count the probably 80 pieces that I have stored. And that's just me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you? Well, I mean, if you want to sell it, we can certainly help you with that, right? And do it that way. But if you're more in like the philanthropic aspect of it, I think, you know, would you consider donating some of it to museums and such?
Yeah, it's a puzzling question. The artists in the family were not only artists, but they had studios, and they sold out of their studios.
Yeah.
All over the United States. So all over the country, there are people that hold these artists' art in their possession. We might even be interested in picking up a few pieces that we really like sometime in the future, but we simply don't know who they are. For instance, my grandmother, who died in 2003 at the age of 99, was a pioneer down in the Rio Grande Valley.
Love
and
it.
Opened an art studio back in the 1940s and 50s. And she was selling to what we used to call summer Texans. They'd come down from up north all over the country, and they would take art lessons, and they would buy art from her, and then they'd take it home with them. And so every now and then you'll see something pop up on the internet. I've tried to pick up a few when I spotted them. And of course, I had her daughter, was my aunt, who passed away at 95 this last year. She had an art studio in Ingram, Texas for about 40 years. And she also sold out of the art studio and went all over the country. So we have this problem. We have art, but we have no artists.
Yeah. So it's hard to know in the stories and the rest, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if it's you want to sell it, we could certainly help you. Otherwise, I think I don't know. It's you have
It's a puzzling question, isn't it?
it is for sure. I mean, I know some high net worth individuals that have big collections, and they occasionally de-access works. I even know that term, de-access. They occasionally de-access works, but they also contemplate giving them to museums after the fact, or if you want to sell the collection, that's an interesting thing too. But it sounds like it's so local, it's so everything else. It would be cool to have that in a house, that it was turned into a restaurant or a bar or whatever, and people could just see it
Right.
for time for time immemorial. But yeah, it's a family call you need to make, Pat. But it's a good problem. I mean, ordinarily, all I do day in day out are teach people how to find people like you, because that's what every artist or photographer wants. Someone like Pat that's going to buy a bunch of the work. And so here we go, guys. Don't everybody try and chase him down at once, but Pat's a collector.
Well, there's certain things that I like. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, have a think on it. If you do want to sell it, I mean, so do you even have heirs to give the money to if you sold it, or would you just donate the money?
I do have heirs that I could leave money to.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you want to?
well, I need to provide for them. Some of them probably aren't capable of taking care of themselves. They have disabilities and illnesses that would prevent them from providing for themselves.
Understood.
I think I've got them mostly pretty provided for,
Hmm.
but the art, it's certainly worth something. They were consistently selling it for prices that ranged from $750 to $1,500 a pop.
Hmm.
Was pretty common when they were active.
Do you have it all cataloged and archived and all that and photographed?
Some of it, yes.
I would.
In fact, one of the pieces that you see behind me in my background,
Hmm.
that was the last piece that my aunt ever painted. We found it on her easel in her studio. Uh, she had signed it, and within weeks had passed away.
Yeah, it's really cool. Pat, if I were you, I would start with photographing it all. Have somebody come out
Okay.
to photograph it all, and then because no matter what you do, people are going to say, well, how do we see it all, right? So having it all sorted and having it all cataloged is probably a great way to start, and then you know go in the direction your heart leads you from there. That's what I would do.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's a super interesting
I'm
story.
gonna
Oh, sorry, I got trigger happy on the muting. You had one last thing to say, Pat. Go ahead. You have to unmute again. I clicked the wrong button. Yeah,
I just said I'm gonna hang with you for a while. I want to see what some of the other people have got to say and show.
great, love it. Thank you. Okay, Amelia, you got some questions. I'm gonna unmute you next, and you'll have to hit the microphone. Usually, it's the bottom left-hand corner. I'll let you know when you get it. Gotcha.
Sorry, my headphones are
No, I can
noise canceling, so it's really weird to talk through. So I had to take them off.
for sure.
So I have a few questions.
Yes, please.
Maybe maybe they can't be answered in this session, but anyway.
No, they could totally be answered.
Where are the print on demands located? I'm in Ontario, Canada, and am concerned about the timeline for shipping.
Yeah, more than the timeline is the least of your concerns. The issue is the taxes, and so we have a West Coast printer and East Coast printer. It's Bay Photo on the West Coast. It's called Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast, and then we have one in Canada called Print Partner. And so, what a lot of our Canadian customers will do is they will use the U.S. Printers for U.S.-based orders, and then they'll use a Canadian printer for the Canadian-based orders, and just decide on a case-by-case basis. Because really, the import-export duties is what gets you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have some other questions.
Please, no, go. That's what this is for.
Does Art Storefront link to something like an Etsy store? Currently, my WordPress does do that. So
you could, But I don't know why you would want to do that, because it's a far better, if you sign up for us, you get a far better art buying experience than what you have on Etsy. And,
I have different stuff on Etsy than I do on my website.
got it.
So
Yeah. So what you
yeah.
would do if you still wanted to keep that going on, you would put the Etsy products in your art storefront store. And when they clicked on the product, when they clicked on the thumbnail of it, it would just send them directly to Etsy. I mean, how many products are we talking about? Like tens of thousands, or like 100, or like
No,
50?
like 50,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is enough, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I would probably just do like a whole separate tab in your art storefront store, and you could either link lock stock, like put it in the nav menu, and then boom, pop directly to Etsy, or you could just bring in a grid of images, which is probably what I would do. You'll have that whole thing set up in like literally an hour, and then just link directly to all those products. It's probably how I would do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but
then
you could also just sell it all through our store, though. That way you're
yeah,
not.
it's that I like my Etsy stuff is a print on demand from Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's clothing and accessories and stuff like that
Okay.
that
Yeah. Want to link
they
over.
fulfill the on demand from my Etsy store without me having to do anything.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can link over.
Okay, and then my last question, I think. I host workshops, so in person and virtually. So can I sell tickets for that?
Ooh, you better believe it. We have some people
Okay.
that are doing extremely well with the, like, teaching people to paint and selling tickets to a Zoom session, and they put the item in the store, and they sell, and then you just send them the private Zoom link when the show's ready to go. You can do that all day. I mean, at the end of the
Okay.
day, the whole website is set up for wall art, but it's also just an e-commerce shopping cart, same as everyone else, right?
Yeah.
So you can put any item in there you want. So we have people doing, in addition to the art and the merch, we had people selling books of every stripe imaginable. We had people selling like workshops where they take them to the national park and teach them how to shoot night photography, to pre-COVID, like massive traveling workshops, to online education of every stripe imaginable. So you're really just limited by your creativity in terms of what you want to sell.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And how do I pronounce the name? Is it Amelia or Amelia?
Amelia, like Amelia Earhart.
Got it. Done. Thank you, Amelia. Good questions. Okay. Oh, Tom's back. All right, Tom. How we doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
To let everybody know, I was an art major in 1970 to 73, and I was selling some of my paintings, which I no longer do, and a few photographs. And right now, I've got a very limited amount of product to sell. And so I was going to use the storefront to see what I could do about, getting rid of it before.
Yeah.
I'm 6 feet over, not 6 feet under, but that's not going to last a lot longer.
Yep.
I was exposed to Agent Orange when I was in Vietnam, and in the whatever part of my life I am in, the end, I guess. But anyway, I was wondering, can this be combined with another aspect of selling art? I was the 4th Infantry Division's cartoonist, and I've also amassed, I have the second largest amount of original comic strip art in the state. And would it be okay to do that? To say,
yes,
here's my photographs.
Yes,
and
yes, 100%. You've earned the right to, there is no one to tell you okay or not okay, right? You've earned the right, especially now. You can do whatever you like.
Oh, that would be nice. Okay, well, that was my main question. It seems like I had another one, but I've forgotten it.
That's okay. If it comes back to you, you can raise your hand again.
Okay, I'll write it down, which is what my wife says I should be doing with everything.
Smart woman. I need to do the same thing myself, Tom, otherwise I'll forget. Okay, well, while Tom's thinking of his other questions, what else, guys? What are you struggling with? Where's your art business at? Where's it's going? Julius, you're up next. Go ahead. And you'll need to unmute, Julius. I'll let you know when you get it. Bottom left-hand corner, mic icon. I'm confident you'll figure this out because I know you have before. All right, Julius, you're figuring it out. All right, I'll wait till you get it sorted, Julius. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab Donna, and then I'll come back to you. Donna, it'll be easier if I unmute you because then I can just answer the follow-ups. So what kind of merch stuff do you want to sell, just out of curiosity, Donna?
I'm not sure. My husband and I are going to go in as a team, and he does sculptures.
Okay.
And we do have some high-end scans that can go on merch, but he's a lot more limited than my painting and my drawings.
Okay.
So I didn't know if you could pick the items that are on the site,
Oh,
or is it kind of an all or nothing?
No. 100% you can pick the items. And you know, it's really interesting because I don't feel like anyone has the franchise on it just yet. And what do I mean? I don't feel like anyone has it completely figured out. And sort of the two models that we're running with, and if you bear with me, I'm going to pull up a store so I can show you one. Some people are playing the game where let's just put it all together, right? And meaning, like, if you hit the product page on their site, there is the original, there is the prints of various different natures, there is the merch itself, all in one thing, right? And I've got it pulled up now so I can show you. Let me just get that off and this up. So you can see in his case, watercolor paper, canvas, hoodies, the phone cases, like, and on and on.
I was actually looking at his site last night.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so that's how he does it. I'm sort of partial to the gift shop vibe personally, like, and I think, like, put it on a case by case basis that way, right? Like on a one-off basis when you want, like, you could just have an iPhone case, or you could just have a puzzle, or just have a coffee mug, or just have a shirt, or whatever you want. I like the gift shop vibe personally, but horses for courses, right? However you want to do it. And the beauty is you have 100% flexibility on however you want to do it. And then not only that, Donna, it is a completely reversible decision. So if you decide to go the one way and then you want to change and go the other way, you can change and reverse course at any point in time. So you have that flexibility, which is nice.
I was personally looking at various different sites and how they were set up, and trying to visualize how we would set up our site together but uniquely separate. And I came across different uses for the merch, and I agree with you. I personally like the separation from the original art to a gift store, because you know what you're getting when you're going into the gift store, right?
Yep.
It's like you're separating yourself out from the limited prints, the paintings, the sculptures, and it just kind of, it's a nice crisp way to separate, I thought. So
and it's like, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's the standard already. There is not a museum that you walk into in the world that doesn't have a gift shop for the most part, right? Like, it's there. It's like it's settled science. It's legal precedent. However you want to say that. And I love just taking, what works in the real world, like, in-person example, and then applying it to what we do online. And that's like a major premise that we operate under. And, go to a Rolling Stones concert. There's a massive booth for merch. Does that make the Rolling Stones seem cheesy? Does that demean the music at all, or the museum experience? Like, no, absolutely not. So
hell no. I'm starting this up to be an entrepreneur and to make some money. So
Donna, you and I are going to find it very easy to get along with one another. Okay, very easy.
My husband's a little more particular. I went to art school. I'm finally getting back into this, and I'm like, nope, you like it. You want it on a case for your phone, go for it.
Exactly.
You go.
Exactly. You and I are in the revenue business, and we have never met a revenue source that we don't like, right? Like,
well, I've been a small business owner for almost 30 years, advertising and marketing. So this is, I just want to make money.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
I have one more question for you.
Yes.
I am still kind of grappling with how to present us as a husband and wife, but we're very different as individuals.
Doesn't matter. And doesn't matter. You guys are the brand. You guys are the brand. And I love when it's husband and wife. Okay. And the reason I love it's husband and wife, I don't really like any of the other, like, we're a co-op gallery and we're going to get together and do this. Like, no, because what ends up happening in a co-op gallery, one person does all the marketing work, the other one's faff about, and then it becomes a big fight, right? But with the marriage, you guys already know your own peccadillos. You already love each other. So if one person does one more marketing work 1 month, you're not going to care, and it just works, right? And so you guys are the brand collectively. The hardest thing to get is attention. You now have a partner in getting attention. It makes me happy. I think they're wonderful. I think they're wonderful combos, personally. Wonderful.
Well, we had a gorgeous studio, which
Mhm.
COVID, the building got taken back by the town. It was a school building, and they took it back and kicked all the artists out.
Lame.
So now we're in our home.
Okay.
But we did have a brand for the studio / gallery.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about using that brand
Okay.
because it's already been labeled,
Established. Yeah.
established, and then breaking the two of us almost on the home page. You can go here or you can go here, and you almost go into two separate sites.
Yep.
Have you seen anybody do that?
Yeah, you can do it that way. You can just have it be a gallery, a thumbnail grid of your images and his images, right? Like there's no 100% rules, but what I would say in terms of advice, and I can couch this because you're an entrepreneur, don't overthink it. Your job is to get started immediately and start marketing immediately, and then get some feedback. And if people are like, I'm confused, I don't know if I'm looking at your stuff or his stuff, then boom, we split it. If no one's complaining, then I have all of it on the homepage. I'm just looking for people to look at it and gravitate towards whatever they want and go and buy it.
Yeah, my fear is to go too many pages into the site and lose people.
Yeah, but you can't answer that question. That's your fear. But you're answering that fear, and you're saying, I'm smarter than my customers, and I know what they're going to do. But you don't have any damn idea what they're going to do, Donna. You have no idea. And I don't have any idea either.
This is true.
No one can tell you until you launch the thing. Like, the analogy I give, and I love it, and we all fall victim to this. It's like the boat is sitting there on the shore, waiting to be launched and put into the water. And what do? Instead of launching it, we're working on the color of the curtains in the galley, and we're putting another coat of varnish on the poop deck up there, right? And we're cleaning the canvas sails. Like, no, push the damn thing into the water and let's see if it floats. If it floats, then we can start making course corrections as we go, right? So you got to just get it.
Well, that's me dealing with clients all those years who want it pretty before they launch.
Exactly, exactly. Like the best quote. God, I love the quote so much. And he's the guy that started LinkedIn. And everybody in like startup land, I'm a huge tech nerd, so I follow these things. His quote, his name's Reid Hoffman, and his quote is, if you're not embarrassed by your first version, you've launched too late. So good. So true. So true.
All right, Patrick, I will give the floor to the next victim of yours.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Donna.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We can definitely help you, Donna. We can definitely help you. Julius, I see you still haven't figured out the unmute.
Well, I'm not muted.
Why?
I'm not muted.
It's so weird because it's showing me that your mic is clearly X'd out, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, okay.
But I can hear you. I'm gonna stop your camera because when you have low bandwidth, the camera usually chews things up. So, okay, now you definitely went back to muted again. But I heard him. I'm gonna unmute you again. Julius, click on the microphone icon again. I already killed your camera for you, so we should be okay on bandwidth.
Okay.
Now I
Can
got
you hear me now?
Yep, perfect. We're good. Go. Shoot.
Right. Okay. So why don't we start out with to explain to me what the gift shop vibe means with respect to the website.
Yeah. So what I was showing there in that example is this is an example of this is a customer's product page, right? And how he has opted to do it is on this product page, you can buy a watercolor print, you can buy a canvas print, you can buy a metal print, and you can also buy a throw pillow, all in the same product buying experience, right?
Gotcha.
Now, what would be different is if we went to his website and we went to his menu and there was a tab here that said gift shop, right? And you went to the gift shop. So he's got coasters. So let's just see what this looks like. I've never seen this. So here's all the ones that he just offers as coasters, right? So that's sort of his way of doing like a little bit of a gift shop. Like here's the images that I know that are going to look great on coasters. His actually do look awesome on coasters, by the way. I think I actually have a couple of them somewhere. But anyway, so that's the gift shop vibe.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yep.
So I've got a website now which is mechanically working fine for me, just for originals. Now, what your advice? Do I need to go with you guys in order to put the prints and the selection of prints on the website, or is that something you think I could accomplish myself?
Well, I mean, let me ask you this: are you selling work on the site you have currently?
I'm not really selling anything on the site now. No.
Yep. Then you don't need that site, and you should put everything on our site.
Yeah.
The only time that we give you the advice to keep the other one going is if it's producing revenue, and then we can sort of look into why it's producing revenue, how that's working, where's the traffic coming from. But if you're not deriving any revenue for it, the last thing you want is 2 websites. One website is confusing enough as is. 2, you gotta be crazy. 1, right?
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Except that I already have the site, and the question is whether I have to tweak it myself to be able to add a couple of bells and whistles. But I don't know how difficult that would be.
It would be extremely difficult, and it's not. Adding bells and whistles is not what I want anyone doing. What I want you doing is working on your marketing, because adding bells and whistles, at the end of the day, after you've done all that time and energy and effort to add those bells and whistles, what are you left with? A site that's still not selling anything because you haven't done any marketing.
Well, I haven't done any of the marketing work yet. So
Yeah.
There you are.
Yep.
So what would I be doing on my first day of marketing?
You would announce the fact that your brand new store is open. We have some hacky little things that we get you to do there that we don't publish because there's an arbitrage to them. Once you're done with that, you're going to just get on board with regular marketing like everyone else. We're going to teach you how to capture emails. We're going to teach you how to email the emails. We're going to teach you how to post on the socials. We're going to teach you how to run a sale. And you just keep your head down and you do it for a year. After a year, we take a look at everything, what's working, what do we want to do, and then we go right into year 2, and it's a whole lot of the same. And then we go into year 3, and then we go into year 4, and then we go into year 5, and then we go into year 6, and then we do that for the rest of our natural born lives, because that is how you build a business.
Well, I feel like the guy, who's wants to learn how to do parasailing, and I'm standing there on the edge of the cliff, and the question is, what do I do now? What happens when I jump?
Yeah.
So
ideally, while you're not looking, one of your friends pushes you over.
Yeah, right. Okay. So
otherwise, you'll never get going, right? Otherwise, you're just going to stand transfixed at the end of that cliff forever and ever and ever.
Well, I guess so. All right. Okay.
There's this legendary story of this big wave surfer. He's one of the most famous big wave surfers in the world, and his name is Laird Hamilton. I'm going to pull up a picture just so you see it. And I grew up. My dad's Hawaiian and grew up in Hawaii, so I grew up my whole life going to Hawaii. And the story just has teeth to me because this guy ended up being one of the greatest big wave surfers to ever live, right? And still alive, still going, still charging, still like lunatic. This guy, right? And evidently his dad took him up to the top of this crazy cliff in Waimea, right? Like, this is one of the biggest waves that he ever did. He really cried afterwards because it was so massive. Anyway, you're getting me on a tangent. But anyway, his dad took him to the very top of this like cliff at Waimea, where there's this big rock outcropping at the beach at Waimea. And, his dad gets up to the top, and he thought he was going to have a big pep talk. And the dad heard some noise and looked sideways. And by the time he looked back, boom, his kid was gone. Laird had already jumped. So you got to jump. I'm not saying you can't look before you leap, okay, Julius, but you got to jump.
Okay, all right.
You can't learn to parasail from the sand, as it turns out. I've tried.
All right. Got it. Okay, good. I will listen and try to accumulate some more questions.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. Okay, I want to put you back on mute. Okay, Greg had some questions. Let me find Greg. All right. Or Gary, rather. Sorry, Gary. Okay. So, Gary, here's the deal. You can upload any size file you like. What our algorithm does is it'll study the quality of what you uploaded, and then it'll tell you the sizes that you can reproduce. So that's how it goes. So he was essentially asking, and we can see in the chat, I don't know if Gary, if you're going to come on or not. You'll have to unmute if you want to. In the meantime, I'll read your question. He's like, I've had my paintings scanned by a professional at the scan company, and my images are TIFF files ranging from 150 to 400. Our system just takes them. How does it work exactly, Joseph? You're a little bit better at it than I am.
Yeah, so it's going to analyze the aspect ratio and the file size, and then go ahead and auto-populate all the sizes available as a fine art print. So it won't let you offer anything bigger than the file supports or that the printers can print when you're using the print on demand. And and then it's going to be available for all the different medias with all the different sizes and the framing options on the website. So that's pretty much all you got to do is get them on there, and then go ahead and set the pricing that you want, and it's done.
Yeah,
and
he got his mic, so it looks like he's here. Are you here now, Gary?
Yeah, no, I was here, and thanks for coming back with that. I've had them printed out here at a place that prints a lot of other big names. Mine's not a big name, but anyway, so they're just huge files. And when I went to the art storefronts print, I'm still considering what I'm going to do here going forward. I saw the maximum limitations that it was calling out. I didn't know whether I needed to resize them on my end or send them over this way, and then you guys would be able to do what you just mentioned there, where it analyzes and then puts out all the different sizes. I mean, they're only 28 by 40, 30 by 30. I mean, they're not that large a size originals, but the prints are just gigantic.
Yeah.
The images, the files.
Yeah, if you get them professionally scanned, they can be huge sometimes. I think you really just need it up to 100 megabytes for like the print sizes we're talking about. So when you have anything over that, it's good to have the file in case you need someone reaches out for some kind of
hot air balloon,
hot air balloon, billboard print that you might need. But yeah, really all you need is up to the 100 megabytes there, and it should be
awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So worst case scenario, Gary, maybe we find out that, like, we would ask Bay or Graphic, like, what, here's what he has. What do you really need in terms of file size? And worst case scenario, you might have to resize some of those down, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But it's nice. Awesome. It's nice to be able to have the big dogs. What's the local place that does your printing? What mediums have you had your stuff done?
Marco Fine Arts.
Oh yeah, classic. So you're in Austin.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm in LA area.
Okay.
That's where their main offices always were.
Always were. That's right.
El Segundo. And so I'm just down in Huntington Beach.
Yep. You know where I'm sitting right now?
No.
One city south of you.
Are you in Newport?
I'm in Newport.
Oh, there you go.
And
I'm actually in Newport. I'm the race director for the OC Marathon, which starts in Newport Beach.
No way! How cool is that?
Yeah. That's my day gig.
Yeah, it goes even deeper with Marco Fine Arts than you could possibly imagine. I have a good buddy from my graduating class of high school works at Marco Fine Arts full time. I've met Al several times. Yes, they were in El Segundo. Yes, he moved to Texas. Yes, they do great work. But the dirty little secret about printing in today's day and age is all you're paying for is the service at the end of the day, the service with a smile, because everyone uses the same computers. Everyone uses the same color calibration to do the monitors. Everyone uses the same printers. Everyone uses the same archival inks, and everyone's buying the media from the same places, right? So, the dirty little secret about printing, some of them do like a really good job branding, and this is not a knock on, Marco Fine Arts versus Bay Photo versus any of the rest of them. But, some of them brand and like trick photographers and like, this is the number one, da, 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 da. And, with a few exceptions on some weird acrylics and some weird metals that only certain places can be, all the rest of them, you're getting the exact same product from one to the other. So what you're essentially paying for, depending on who you go to, is one, the prestige of the brand, if that makes you feel good. Two, the way that they treat you in terms of a service, in terms of a relationship. And, it's sort of a bummer because you want a great relationship with your printer and you want great service. But the reason that I love the POD is because I don't want you spending even 1 second on the damn admin, because every second you're spending on the admin, by which I mean uploading the files. Did you get the file, Steve? Yeah, Gary, we got it. Okay, great. Can you send me a proof when you have it? Okay. And then some emails come back and then you're responding to that. All of that is time that you are not spending on your marketing. And it's time that you are not spending on actually growing the business substantially. And if you think the customer knows the damn difference between one or the other, they have zero idea, zero at all, zero, none, period, full stop. So, like, if the ambition is to grow the business, whether you have a great relationship with Marco, Al at Marco Fine Arts or anyone else, I just want you spending all the extra available time you have on growing the actual business. And the real question is, what are you doing with all those marathon photos? People buy those. That's a solid little side business right there.
Oh, we have millions of marathon photos, but
no, but I'm saying don't allot it to the actual. I mean, the only ones that buy those things are the people that actually run the race, right?
Correct.
But I'm not like a marathon guy.
There's a company out of Dallas that does all of our photos. It's called Marathon Photos, and so anyway, that's who does our photos. But Mark, what's really been good about Marco, and I've had a number of paintings scan with them and color correct it. And that's what's been so good is there's a lot of detail, a lot of darks, a lot of lights, and so doing the color correcting and the real balancing of those values has really been important to work with them. So
yeah,
I mean it's worked out really well, I think.
Yeah, and you could totally still do that. I just, I am, to the hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? Like to the marketing guy, everything is like a lens. Like, how do you sort the marketing problem? I don't care about anything else. Like, are you giving me the hours to get that done? Well, I've done that. The reason I brought up the marathon photos because I've done the mud run. They have it Pendleton a couple of times,
Sure.
And my goodness, like the marketing funnel that they put you in after that thing, like just constantly sending me that gallery, and they know my bib number and like over and over and over, like buy this one, buy this one, buy this one. I'm sure that's actually a pretty decent business.
Yeah, that's just an outside vendor for us, so we don't even worry about that. They do that. They get our list. But yeah, we're gonna have our race in November, starting right there at Fashion Island, so right down by you, and we end up finishing at the OC Fairgrounds.
Yeah, awesome, and it goes off really early in the morning, and it goes right through my neighborhood too, so it's kind of cool too.
Perfect. Well, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good questions. Okay, Julius, I can't tell if you raised your hand again, so if you did, you can just raise it again, and that'll let me know. But I forgot my poll. I already hit you guys with one poll, but will you guys rate the session and let me know what you think? I mean, I know some of you guys have been on here before, but constantly trying to ask for feedback, very, very important. If you thought the session was whatever, meh, solid, middle of the road, fantastic, awesome, you can vote that way. We appreciate it. Lets us know that we're on the right track and rolling. So, yeah. Joseph, we have a sale going on, right?
We do.
You want
It
to talk
goes
about that?
on through next Friday. So one more week. And right now you can get started as low as a one-time activation with the promotion of $1,000 and then $44 a month ongoing. And then it does range on the higher end, goes up to a one-time activation of $2,700 and then $59 a month as well. And you can always put in a demo request and our team can kind of walk you through the differences and everything and see what works best for you. But yeah, good time to get started. Father's Day marketing is going to be starting soon. So that's the next good opportunity. And then time flies. I mean, we're getting close to the fourth quarter again. So it's going to be that time to take advantage of all the big art sales in. So
awesome. Love it. Who else, guys, on questions on the Happy Friday? Okay, hold on. This is an interesting one from Tim. Will my customers be coming from? Where will my customers be specific? Okay, this is great. I'm going to unmute you too, Tim, because I'm sure there's going to be a back and forth. And then, Julius, I see you really do want to raise your hand again, so I'll grab you again too. Don't worry. All right, let me get Tim. All right, I'm unmuting you, Tim. Let's see if we can't get you to come on here. So Tim's asking, okay, good, we've got you. Tim's asking, where will my new customers be coming from? Please be specific and share examples if you have success stories. Let's tailor the advice to you. So Tim, are you literally just getting started, i.e. no attention whatsoever, no email lists, no Facebook fans, none of that?
First off, sorry about the voice.
Oh, it's okay.
Second, I have a wide Facebook following.
Okay.
I have a website.
Okay.
I've sold some things, photography and books, but I'm not even scratching the surface. What I'm scratching my head about after some solicitations and watching a couple of videos is I want to get an idea where this new customer base comes from.
Okay. So what we find, number one, is artists and photographers, by and large, are new to digital marketing. They don't know how to do the basics. I collectively call the basics. Artists and photographers need to learn how to do 100 push-ups in one setting. What do I mean by that? You need to develop the marketing muscles that would allow you to do 100 push-ups in one setting. Anyone that's tried to do 100 push-ups in one setting knows that that's really hard unless you're like a Marine and you're 18 years old. That's going to take you a while to build those muscles up. What are those muscles? Specifically, they are how to capture emails, okay? And, each one of these are a pillar that has a whole bunch of techniques and tactics and different ways of going about it underneath it. But big picture, let's stay there for a moment. We can drill in. Capturing emails. Okay, you need to be doing that all year long. You need to be growing your lead list. You need to be emailing those emails. You need to be emailing those emails with a regular bit of frequency. You need to understand how to do that. What's the right way to do that? That's important. You need to start posting on the socials. How do you post on the socials? How do you get your social profile set up such to capture more emails? How do you set up your social profile such to capture the most from the attention that you do get on those platforms? How do you get your social posts to dovetail with your email such that you can understand what omni-channel marketing is? How do you run a sale? What are all the mechanics of a sale? How do you announce a sale? What do you do during a sale? What do the discounts look like? What are the titles of the email subject lines? What about Facebook and Instagram ads if that comes into it? How do you extend a sale? What are the hand-to-hand things you can do during a sale? There's a lot of mechanics and moving parts to those, okay? And fundamentally, when you talk about running an art of photography business, it is the same thing year in, year out. It will never change. It's normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, year repeats, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale. And that's the way it always has been. That's the way it always will be until you even are ready to invest a dime in your marketing, by which I mean paying for Facebook or Instagram ads or anything else. You have to build up those muscles, because if you don't have those muscles in place, you will never have a successful business. Everyone thinks like, ooh, I'm going to do a little marketing this month, and I'm going to do a little marketing and see how I go. And if it works well, then I have a business. Well, you don't understand how art sells. You don't understand how photography sells. You don't just do a little marketing and then all of a sudden everyone's ready to buy. Like, everyone buys into this complete load of BS that here's my audience, okay? And I got to move my hands over. Out of this audience, there's 100 people in this audience, okay? Let's just keep the numbers simple. And if I just go and do my marketing to these 100 people, out of those 100 people, all 100 have their hand raised up. I'm ready to buy art right now. Nothing could be further than the truth. Nothing. Out of the 100, maybe one person out of the 100 has their arm raised saying, I'm ready to buy art right now. The other 99 are not ready right now. The other 99 are going to be ready in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So you'll want to build the audience bigger and bigger and bigger. But unless you're marketing to them consistently, you're never going to have an opportunity where they all have their hands up. They're all raising their hands up to buy art at different times. The only way that you are ready is if you're marketing to them consistently. So that's the business. And you constantly need to be doing that. And so we teach you all of it. Number one, out of the gates. The only additional costs that happen is we do quite a few marketing techniques that center around free print giveaways here or there. So that is a cost that's on the artist. Sometimes they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 bucks. And we do this all year long. And again, regular marketing sale, regular marketing sale, regular marketing sale. Year starts again. Regular marketing sale. That's the ballgame. That's how you build an art business.
So I still don't understand. Are we talking about creating a new customer base?
Yes.
Or selling to my,
both,
for example,
both.
Existing 2,000 Facebook friends?
100% you're going to be selling to your existing customer base always. What you're also going to be doing is just growing that list more and more and more all year long. Of course, you sell to your existing. Yes. What's that?
Give me an example of how.
Yeah.
How am I creating new?
So we're going to catch. Yeah. I'll give you some specifics. So we're going to teach you how to capture leads, and that's going to start with, proper lead capture enabled on your website. We're going to teach you what to put on your social profiles such that people would actually want to give you their email address. We're going to teach you what to post on the social sites. We're going to teach you what language to use when you post on the social sites. We're going to teach you how to run a print giveaway such that people opt in to win the print and give you their email address. We're going to tell you where to post those various different things. We're going to teach you how to email the people that are on your list, the copy, when to send them, when to have sales. We're going to tell you what discounts to use for the sales. We're going to walk through the entire thing from start to finish, and there's a whole lot to learn there, and you're going to be doing it consistently all year long. So you're constantly going to be growing your lead list. You're constantly going to be posting on the socials. You're constantly going to be having sales and everything that all of that implies. And if you do that, and you do that consistently, your list over time continues to grow and grow and grow. You continue to sell more and more and more. You start to build a collector list, and the marketing never stops.
And thank you.
Yeah. Good questions. I appreciate them. Okay. Julius, and then we'll go to Mary. Go ahead, Julius. Let's see if Julius figures it out.
Okay, so sorry about this annoying question. You'll find it annoying. But what would be the minimum file size that would be required for doing prints?
There is no minimum or maximum. It's whatever the file size that you have. The system tells you how big you can print it, right? So You know, it's up to you. You could upload one and the system would come back and say, okay, great, you can print a 4-inch by 4-inch image out of this. Well, that's probably too small. We probably need a bigger one, right?
Well, actually, how do I find out what how those sizes corroborate?
Joseph, you probably have more on this than I do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you come on board, the website will just kind of tell you. We have a ASF prints link that you can kind of play with a couple files and test it and see what sizes it'll populate for you. So we can toss that in the channel for you. Just go in there, upload a piece, and see what kind of sizes you're getting or seeing.
Okay, fair enough.
Because yeah, if it's just small sizes, obviously you're gonna want a bigger file for that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Thanks, Julius. All right. How's it going, Mary?
Hey, great to see you again, Patrick.
Yeah, I saw your name. You popped in the other day or so, or maybe right at the end. I think I saw you pop on, but yeah.
I actually had my my whole little demo thing, like was that like an hour and a half with Nate.
Awesome.
But I had a question about I know that we can use another printer if we want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know that the way that things are set up with your business, everything kind of works together. So if I were to use that, would I be able to keep track of how I'm selling, the analytics and things like that?
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't affect it at all. Like there's literally zero difference. Like, you know, all of the orders are still coming through on your website. You still maintain all the tracking. The only thing that's different is when the order comes in, you have to forward it to a printer manually. That's it. Otherwise, it's 100% the same.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's right. Art storefronts. When I send something in, I don't normally have my pictures at a specific size, like 8x10 or 16x20 or whatever. Does that matter?
No, because all the sizes are going to be based off of your images and their aspect ratio. So ultimately, everything's custom, so to speak. Nothing's going to be shoved into an 8x12 or some type of standard size at all.
Phenomenal. Trying to think if I have another question. I know I had one, but I don't remember. Okay, well, I don't want to take up your time in case there's other people with questions. So if I think of it, I'll raise my hand again. But awesome talking to you, Patrick. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too. Before you go, have you worked on selling some of your work over the course of all the time that we've been talking?
I did that one show. I actually haven't done another, but it's a longer reason than you have time for, but still working on different things to work my business and stuff like that, and remembering the great lessons that you taught me, because you really have helped me a lot.
I appreciate that. Wonderful.
It's just the truth.
good to see you again, Mary, and have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Questions? Oh, I see Tim still. Joseph, any wrap up thoughts on your end?
No, I guess I don't know. Did everybody have a good feel for like what it is we do and provide? Because I can always give a quick overview if anybody's unsure of exactly what it is we do and provide. I'm happy to kind of synopsis that, or any other questions about what we do or where you're at with your business. Happy to answer.
Megan, what about you? Questions? I'm going to unmute you. Hold on. I felt like Megan was about to ask a question, so I went
there
on
we
offense.
go.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. I guess mainly I'm just starting, right? Like I have a website, but not selling on that website or any of that stuff. So what's that process? What do you do first other than let's marketing? Let's got that.
Yeah. Let's wind to the very beginning. So have you attempted to sell your work ever before?
Yes. And I have, but not like my primary job was raising my kids.
100%.
Now I'm going back to my career.
Okay, I love it.
And I guess also I've always sold my services, not so much fine art prints, which is now the direction I'm going.
Got it. So photographer then?
And painting.
And painting, both. Was the services like teaching people to paint, or was it like service
Commission.
photography, or? I'm just curious.
No, like commercial shooting or portraiture, that kind of stuff.
Got it. So, okay. You know, the first question you need to ask is like, if you sold the work to people not named mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend, if you sold it to strangers, then you know you're completely validated and you're good to go. Then at that point, it just becomes a marketing problem. If you're starting out, like, assume you haven't kept an email list, but you maybe with some of your old clients potentially. Did you keep any of those databases, any of that customer information?
Not really.
Not really. Any following on Facebook or Instagram, or literally just getting started?
Just getting started.
Okay.
That's why.
Yep.
Your situation seemed interesting.
Yes, it's the chicken and egg scenario for sure. Early on in the beginning, totally sucks, totally a grind. You get everything up on the site, you launch it. We have some tips and tricks to try to get as much attention as possible. For some people that goes well. For some people it's complete crickets. Doesn't matter. You're in the same place that everyone else is, right? Like, you need to grow that business. And so it's sort of the same advice that I was giving. I can't remember what his name was earlier. But we just teach you the basics on marketing. And, you know, it starts with a calendar that tells you what to do 365 days a year. Calendar split between beginner, immediate, and advanced. At first, you're doing the beginner stuff. You're like, this sucks. I'm pulling my hair out of my head, but you're going through it in a cohort of a bunch of people that are in the exact same scenario that you are. And so everybody learns from everybody and is on the Zoom calls, which is awesome. And you just keep marketing throughout the entire year. I mean, I know this sounds like cliche, but it's quite literally how you grow a business. And, you know, again, we teach you how to leverage Facebook and Instagram. We have some other hacky little things that we don't publish that work well for now. A lot of things that center around print giveaways. And, you know, you start building a list one at a time. You start having a sale. And usually what happens is, you know, year one, when you come on, like the most art traditionally for 90% of our customer base is sold in the fourth quarter. Between Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the Christmas buying season, that's when it just goes crazy. This last year aside, because COVID, all the rules are out the window. But, you know, you try to get as much attention as you can. You try to let as many people know as possible that you are now an artist that is selling fine art prints of both, I'm assuming, the paintings and the photography. And, you know, you have those sales and you see how you do, and you'll look at the end of the year and you're like, you started out with no emails and now you have 2, 3, 4, 500, 1,000, 5,000, depending on how successful you are, 10,000, 100,000 in some cases. So that's just how it goes, right? But you got to do the marketing, and you got to do it consistently. And I think, you know, especially in your case and the other gentleman's, like, more than anything else, the consistency is where everybody fails. If you're a mom and you're still busy with the kids and you only have 3 hours a week to give me, fine. Give me 3 hours a week for 52 weeks in a row and watch what happens. The whole game changes. You're never going to do it on your own. No one ever does it on their own. It's too hard, right? And you don't have the motivation of people pulling you along. So that's how it would go.
All right.
What's the nature of the fine art photos? Just out of curiosity, like, what do you like to shoot?
It's gritty, kind of street art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm all over the place.
Yes.
I have all kinds of stuff. So I was listening to something you did yesterday that was pre-recorded and talking about, oh, do you have to be in this special little niche, you know, like, or can I have all of my work that is all over the place?
Yep.
I mean, it's not portraiture.
And it does not matter at all, even in the slightest. And, you know, the best way to think about it is like, you're not an artist, you're a restaurateur, okay? And you're contemplating your menu, and you're sitting here looking at it, and you're like, I don't know what the hell this restaurant's going to be, because I've got some Italian dishes on here. I've got some Mexican dishes. I have some Asian stir fries, right? I have some incredible steakhouse type of entrees, and you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what people are going to gravitate to. You've never got it in front of enough eyeballs to get the feedback. So your job is just to throw all that stuff on the menu, give it a name, and start serving people. And what you're going to find is some people are going to come back and order a bunch of dishes again and again and again, and they're going to ignore the other ones. At that point, you got to decide, do I want to stay all over the board, or do I want to focus 100% on the dishes that are selling, right? And that's how you make the informed decisions to go in that direction and stay on that direction. So, yeah.
Right.
That's how we like to look at it. But you don't know. You can't outsmart your cut. Like everyone thinks they can outsmart their customers or think through it and like decide before you even know. Like, no, you don't know. What you're going to do is you're going to grab your smattering of best sellers and you're going to put them all up on the website and you're going to start marketing. And after a period of time when you've driven enough attention, we'll have some data. Until then, no one has any idea what's going to work. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Mary's got another question. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, I remember the other question. As you know, I've been kind of lingering a little bit just because getting the payments has been difficult for me. So I know you had shared something with me before, and at the time, really just because of the circumstance we're in with this whole COVID coaster fund, I really haven't had consistent money coming in. But now I do have an opportunity in a couple of months to hopefully be able to do something. But I just wanted to ask again, because I don't remember exactly, what might be arrangements where a person can maybe break up the payments? Is that possible?
Yeah, there is a way that you can finance it for sure, and you can talk to Nate. He can explain about that. Joseph, what exactly is the nature of the program? Do you know?
Well, I mean, a lot of times you could just get started. I mean, if the 1,000 and the 44 is in the budget, you go start there and then just pay the difference whenever to upgrade. And so
well, no, I mean to start, because just because of the nature of what's been going on, I haven't really been working at all. So it's like, how might one perhaps break up that 1,000 and be able to, like reasonably do that?
Oh, gotcha. Everybody's circumstances are always different, but I can give you a call here in a little bit, and we can kind of talk through it, see if there's something we can do to help you out.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And then my other question is, I never asked this question, but I know that it's a pay one time thing for when a person starts. They don't have to pay that $1,000 again.
Ever.
But
Ever.
Is it refundable, or is this non-refundable? Because now that I'm actually presented with the idea that I can actually do this, it's like, yeah, I never asked that.
Well, I mean, you are buying education and resources and tools here, so we don't want you to do it if you're not planning on sticking with it, right? So we don't really have refunds like that. Now, the only thing we do have is, let's say you came on board and like 7 days or so, you maybe the technology is just too much or something like that. Then, yeah, in those circumstances, yeah, we can work with you. But for the most part, yeah, we don't really have refunds. But I guess that's the only option.
That's good to know. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, because no, I love what you guys do, and I talk you guys up all the time. So, but I just realized I'd never asked that question, and when someone's going to invest in something that intense, it's good to ask. But
it's actually it's one of the best parts of this service, in all honesty. And I sort of have to take myself out of art storefronts mode and just put myself in an objective spot. And what do I mean by that? Like, we're aware of what we charge. We know what the dollar amounts are. We know how many zeros there are in it. We know in comparison to all the other website solutions out there, it's a different number. Why we arrived at these numbers is because that is what it takes in terms of resources that we believe to make artists and photographers successful, right? But what you find, what all artists and photographers prior to us would often do, is your level of commitment to something is directly proportional to the amount of money that you spend. And so if you look at a whole bunch of the other website solutions out there, free for 6 months, and after that it's $14.99 a month or whatever it is in that capacity. Well, guess what ends up happening in those situations? You're not committed to do any work for any period of time consistently. And guess what people do? They don't do any work for any period of time consistently, right? They flitter about and they do some of this and they do some of that. Well, okay, it's like only $14. Stated another way, it's like a gym membership that's inexpensive, right? What would happen if the gym membership, instead of being expensive, cost $5,000 a month, and every time you went to the gym, $1,000 came off the fee? You would go to the gym that 5 times, right? Like, so what ends up happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what ends up happening is it creates a situation where people burn the boats, Before, they weren't burning the boats. Now, when you invest in this program, when you get this thing going, you burn the boat. You're like, I am making this work this time. And what that translates into is you will actually work at it consistently for years to come. And that is the difference between a successful artist and not. It is not the quality of the work. It is the one that works on getting attention to the work. That's it. That's the ball game.
Nice. Okay. No, I absolutely agree. No, I had a dance teacher who used to treat us the same way. She would charge us to be in our own recital. But the thing is, nobody quit.
Love her.
Like right before the recital, they
Yeah.
would all be in that show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I get it. But thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Mary.
And I
I got trigger happy on the muting. You had one final thing to say. You'll have to unmute again. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I look forward to talking to you. Can't see your name, but
Joseph.
Look forward
Yeah.
to talking with you. Thank you.
Yeah, Joseph will call you. Thanks.
Oh.
Mary's great, Joseph. She's been coming on these things for probably over a year now. And yeah, Michelle, I see your comment about like people thinking they need to pick a niche. It is such a load of nonsense. And the context in which the niche advice is given is completely off. Like, you don't need to pick a niche early on. You can't figure out what niche is going to be successful until you get it in front of eyeballs. So how the heck would you even know? It's a bunch of educated guesses. It's a bunch of BS until you take it in front of people and figure it out. And again, what do I always say on these things all the time? 45,000 works were in the inventory of Pablo Picasso when he died. What do you think he was doing there? He's figuring out what his damn niche was. And there was a lot of times where he missed it. He didn't get it right? And he kept hacking at it and trying other things. So that's what I would say. That's what I got. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Joseph, any parting remarks for us on a Friday? Any sage wisdom?
No, I was going to say, if you're looking to put in the hard work, make it easy on yourself, have all these tools and a marketing plan that's already been put together for you. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You guys can just take it and run and see how far you can go with the marketing to how big you can build your audience and get the sales up. So, but other than that, happy Friday. And deal's good through next week. So if you guys want to put in a demo request, our team's happy to just chat with you for a few minutes and talk about your circumstance and see if it's a good solution for you. And like Pat always says, if it's not, let us know and we'll never call you again. So we won't bug you. And
it's important. Nobody wants to errant phone calls. I've gotten 2 of them. These damn spam calls where they call. I don't know if you get the ones where they're like, "This is the warranty department and your car." Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I want to drive to this person's house and really just make them pay, because I'm tired of these calls. But anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being on the session. We appreciate you. I want everyone to have a wonderful weekend. Joseph, have a wonderful weekend. And hope to see you guys on the inside or on a future session.